So I've already made a video this week. This one is not connected to our teaching series here at the church. I want to talk today about Ahmaud Arbery, this black man who was jogging through his neighborhood, who was tracked down, hunted down by two white men, who was confronted and murdered because these white men did not think it was normal to see a black man jogging through their neighborhood. They were afraid of him. This stark reminder once again of the ideology, the sin of white supremacy that continues to dominate so much of our society. But this is drawn even into more stark contrast when we compare it with other things that are happening in our world right now. Across our country in Canada, but particularly in the States, we're seeing people protest the lockdowns and restrictions that have been put in place to protect the public health. Footage this week out of Michigan with white people in military garb carrying assault rifles, protesting their politicians, yelling in the faces of police officers. And this is what sin does to us. It inverts our imagination of the world so that things that should bring us joy, people of color going about their lives, enjoying their day, celebrating their families, all of a sudden these things make us fearful. And things that should terrify us, somehow this gets a pass. This is what sin does. It takes the things that we should find joy in and it teaches us to fear them. And it takes the things that we should be afraid of and it tells us to ignore them. And sin is doing this to us all of the time. It is pitting us against each other, against our neighbor, or someone that we need to compete with. It's making us think of God not as a loving father, a mother who comes to us to heal us, to bring us back home, but as someone we need to make sure is not ready to pour their anger and wrath out on us any moment. Sin is what convinces us that someone who is different than us, who looks different than us, who acts different than us, who prays different than us, it convinces us that that person is someone to be afraid of, rather than expression of the goodness and the creativity that sits at the center of the divine. The ways that God has knit this world together with all kinds of stories and individuals and people through which the divine image comes to us. Sin is what steals from us the joy of celebrating each other, and it pits us against each other. It makes us believe that anger and frustration and protecting ourselves and yelling at our neighbor is what is good. And that those we don't understand, those we haven't taken the time to understand, those that we do not see ourselves in are somehow our enemies. The sin of white supremacy, this belief that those who are not like us do not deserve what we deserve, has and continues to exact an incredible toll on all of our siblings of color around us and near us. But it continues to exact a toll on all of us by stealing from us the beauty and the diversity, the joy of what God intends for each of us. The ability to celebrate, the ability to take joy, the ability to find God in each other, and through that come to know God in ways that we would never do on our own. May this injustice do more than make you sad. Might it cause you to reach out to those near you, to your neighbors who look like you, to those who don't, to search for the image of God in everyone that you encounter, recognizing that the goodness of God, the joy of God, is buried in the diversity of God's creation around us all the time. And until we are ready to capture that, until we heal of the sin that drives us into our own enclaves away from those who are not like us, we will never understand the goodness of God who has created every single one of us. God, we repent of the ways that we have allowed sinful ideologies to pervert the ways that we see the world. We ask by your Spirit that you would renew our imaginations so that we might once again be able to take joy in the things that we should celebrate and to stand against all that tears at your creation.